These 8 useful English words will boost your everyday fluency and your IELTS, TOEFL, or Cambridge score. And you won't just memorize them. You'll meet each one inside the story, feel what it means, then prove you caught it. That's how your brain keeps them for good. The cup final had come down to a single penalty. And to the horror of the entire crowd, the boy walking out to take it was Hugo, the substitute who had barely played all season. The whole town had packed the little stadium, roaring and praying. And Hugo, whose legs were already shaking, was about to learn what he was truly made of. Hugo was a substitute. He was the boy who warmed the bench, who came on for the last 5 minutes when the game was already won or lost. He was not a star. He was not even, if he was honest with himself, very good. All season, he had watched from the side while the real players, like Diego, won game after game. The final had been a war. With the very last kick of normal time, the other team scored a late equalizer, and a stunned silence fell over the town. No more goals came. And so, as the light faded, the greatest match of their lives would be decided by the cruelest thing in football, a penalty shootout. 5 penalties each, one boy alone against the goalkeeper, with everything on the line. The noise was deafening. Each time a boy stepped up to the spot, the whole stadium held its breath, then exploded. 4 penalties each had been taken, and somehow the scores were still level. It all came down to the 5th and final kick. Whoever took it now and scored would be a hero forever. Whoever missed would never forget it. The deafening roar dropped to a terrible, waiting hush. The coach looked down his line of exhausted players and asked the question no one wanted to hear. Who will take the last one? Diego, the star, the boy who scored every week, stared at his boots and said nothing. One by one, the bravest players in the team went pale and looked away. Nobody would volunteer. The kick that could win the cup was also the kick that could lose it in front of the whole town. And not one of the heroes would volunteer to take it. And then, from the very end of the line, a small voice said, "I'll take it." Every head turned. It was Hugo, the substitute, the boy who never played. He did not say it because he was brave. He said it because somebody had to, and no one else would. His heart was hammering against his ribs, but his hand was up. The walk from the halfway line to the penalty spot was the longest of Hugo's life. He trudged forward on legs that did not feel like his own, the ball impossibly heavy in his hands. He felt sick, truly queasy, his stomach twisting, his mouth dry as paper. His knees wobbled with every step. He set the ball down on the spot, took 2 steps back, and looked up at the goalkeeper, who suddenly seemed as wide as a house. The whole town went silent. Hugo could hear his own heartbeat thudding in his ears. This was the moment of glory that Diego and the stars had been too frightened to face, and it had fallen to the smallest, least likely boy on the team. He took one slow breath. He thought strangely, not about scoring at all, but about the simple fact that he had been brave enough to walk up here in the first place. Then he ran, and he kicked. The ball flew. The goalkeeper threw himself the wrong way, and the net bulged. Hugo had scored, and the town erupted in a wall of sound so deafening that he could not even hear himself screaming. His teammates buried him under a pile of bodies. But here is the thing Hugo understood. Even in that mad, joyful moment, the glory had never really been about the goal at all. He had already won the instant he raised his hand, when every braver boy had looked away. Hugo never did become a star. He went back to being a substitute the very next week, warming the bench in the cold. But something inside him had changed forever. He had learned that courage is not the absence of fear. It is being queasy and shaking, and certain you will fail, and stepping forward anyway. For the rest of his life, whenever something terrified him, Hugo remembered the longest walk he ever took, the day he trudged up to a penalty spot on wobbling legs and volunteered to be brave when no one else would. Now, and did you catch all 8? Let's find out. A noun for a free kick at goal, given as a punishment in football. It's the high-pressure kick from the spot, just the striker and the keeper. The whole cup final came down to a shootout of these, one kick at a time. The final was decided by a what shootout. 5 kicks for each team.
The word is penalty.
The referee pointed to the spot and awarded a penalty. A noun for a player who waits on the bench to replace another during a game. It's the reserve player a coach sends on when someone is tired or hurt. Hugo was this. the boy who rarely played and warmed the bench all season. Hugo was only a what? A bench player who almost never got to play?
The word is substitute.
The coach sent on a fresh substitute in the final 10 minutes. A verb meaning to shake and move unsteadily from side to side. It's what a tall tower of blocks does just before it topples over. Hugo's knees did this with every step as he walked to the spot. His knees did what? Shook unsteadily, with every step on the long walk to the spot.
The word is wobble.
The toddler's legs wobbled as he took his very first steps. An adjective for being so loud that it almost hurts your ears. It describes the wall of sound at a concert that you feel in your chest. The roar of the crowd at each kick was exactly this. The noise of the packed stadium was what? Almost painfully loud, then dropped to a sudden hush.
The word is deafening.
The thunder was deafening, rattling every window in the house. A verb meaning to offer to do something difficult without being made to. It's putting your own hand up for a hard job that nobody else wants. When the coach asked who would take the last kick, no star would do this. Not one of the team's heroes would do what? Offer themselves to take the deciding kick.
The word is volunteer.
Nobody wanted the job, so she bravely volunteered to do it herself. A noun for great fame, praise, and honor won by a magnificent deed. It's the dazzling honor a champion feels lifting the trophy high. The chance for this had fallen to the least likely boy on the team. The moment of what? Great fame and honor. That the frightened stars had run from fell to Hugo.
The word is glory.
The young runner dreamed of glory at the Olympic Games one day. A verb meaning to walk slowly and heavily, as if your legs weigh a ton. It's the weary, dragging walk of someone exhausted or full of dread. Hugo did this from the halfway line, his legs not feeling like his own. He did what? Walked slowly and heavily. Forward to the spot on legs that did not feel like his own.
The word is trudge.
Soaked and tired, they trudged the last mile home through the mud. An adjective for feeling sick in the stomach, as if you might be ill. It's the sick, churning feeling you get on a rough boat or before a test. Hugo felt exactly this on the long walk, his stomach twisting with nerves. He felt truly what? Sick to his stomach twisting and his mouth dry as paper.
The word is queasy.
The wild boat ride left them all feeling pale and queasy. Quick recap. How many do you still remember?
Penalty. Substitute. Wobble. Deafening. Volunteer. Glory. Trudge. Queasy.
A new English story every day. Subscribe and learn useful words the way your brain actually keeps them. Inside a story you won't forget.